There's someone out there for everyone, and there's a ship that's right for you. Learn from my mistakes and pick the right one early. If cruise lines were women that I've dated, here is who they would be. MSC is Keira. Now, to keep her anonymous, we're going to call her Keira, because that's close enough to her real name, which is Keira, that I won't lose track. Now, I never actually dated Keira, though for some bizarre reason she told a lot of people that I did. She was a very attractive woman at first glance. In the end, no matter how many Swarovski crystals you stick on something, you're not really adding value. Even a brief closer look reveals these are not diamonds. Keira, used to make a lot of noise and was always playing loud music, which must sound familiar to anyone who's cruised with MSC. Like MSC, she spoke a number of different languages. She looked great in photos, but gave sensible people a headache in real life. She's also very much in the game to entertain as many passengers as possible. Ugh. Which is just one of the many reasons that I would never have dated her. Like MSC, I would once in a while have a moment of madness when I'd look and I'd think, maybe. Then a few minutes later I would feel grubby for even thinking about it. A strange beast indeed. Cunard is Victoria. Now, it's just a coincidence that Cunard has a Victoria. Cunard is the one. It would be easy for someone who doesn't understand her to think she's a bit pretentious or stuck up, but the truth is that she's warm, elegant, traditional. Old-fashioned, really. Beautiful to look at with poise, charm and character, the cruise line that your parents would approve of. Every time I walk away from a Cunard ship, I have that sickening feeling inside. One I had when I walked away from Victoria, and I know deep down, I'm doing the wrong thing. No matter how many ships there are on the ocean, Cunard is special. Being on board another ship can seem fun for a while, but I often find myself stood on the prom deck aft, watching the wake and thinking about QM2. Some ships come and go. Some ships stay with you forever. Royal Caribbean is Molly. Royal Caribbean's fun and it's exciting on the surface. It seems like there's always something going on. You're always in a rush to get from the flow rider to the climbing wall to the ice rink. And it's fun while it lasts. There are plenty of admirers and even a few copycats. But it is no coincidence that nobody is doing a world cruise with Royal. Disney is Linzi. Linzi is two different people to me. The one that I dated ever so briefly many years ago, and the woman that I occasionally bump into today. Don't worry, you're going to meet them both. Back when I knew her, she was really sweet, happy and colourful, and she'd do anything to make me happy. Like Disney. If you looked closely, then you'd see it. She was consumed by a quiet desperation for everyone to like her. Like Disney. I knew her before I went to work on ships. She actually quit her job and boarded the ship that I worked on halfway through a world cruise in Australia to surprise me. She was more surprised because, of course, by the time she arrived, I'd left the ship. With Krystle. Going later. Occasionally, I wonder if that was the start of her transformation into Virgin Voyages Linzi. Also on the way. P&O is Emma. Specifically Aurora. Not just because she's tiny. It seems like she's always been there, and you feel like she always will be. You hope she will. Low-key and quiet, not showy or loud, but ever so charming and like absolutely stunning on formal night. And everyone likes her. Aurora is the lovely girl next door that's like your best friend. You know deep down that she loves you and she'd treat you better than the rest of the world does, if you would let her. But, whether you like to admit it or not, Aurora deserves better. Celebrity is Krystle, specifically the Edge-class ships. Like the Edge-class ships, the first time I saw Krystle, I was dazzled. She was just quietly doing her job, working in the perfume shop on a ship, just like anyone else, but not like anyone else. For a while, I felt in my bones something amazing is about to happen. But Once the novelty wears off, I don't know, when you've run away together and you're at your parents' house in Cyprus planning your next move, for example, cracks start to appear. Some days you think, wow, the infinite veranda. The whole world is right there. On other days, you stare straight through the infinite veranda and all you see is endless, empty space. Virgin Voyages is also Linzi. The new Linzi. Of course now, well, all that joy and happy energy has been replaced by a self-conscious determination to be different. She's straightened and dyed her hair Morticia Adams black, gone in for turkey teeth and is covered, and I mean covered, in tattoos. She's really gone out the way to let everyone know that she's unique. Just like the rest of the models on Instagram that endlessly post pictures of themselves with no clothes on. Or Virgin's 4 almost identical ships. Beneath all the artificial add-ons, there's still a nice, relatively conventional young woman who has a bit of a trouble feeling comfortable in her own skin and wants to project a wild and edgy personality. But all that stuff is really just hiding the girl next door. Sound familiar, Virgin? Princess is Caroline. From the moment I met Caroline, we just clicked. There weren't fireworks exactly, but we fit together ever so nicely and it was like we'd known each other forever. This is what I thought a partner was supposed to feel like. Just the way that when you describe what a cruise ship should be to someone, you are definitely describing Princess. In the end, I had to end it. I found myself noticing other ships, and whilst I never sailed with another line, I knew it wasn't right, and I had to let Princess sail away. Much like Princess, Caroline is largely based in the Southern Hemisphere now. Princess is a lovely place to spend some time, but it's not really my ship long term. I mean, really, only an idiot wouldn't be happy with Princess. And, like I said, I let her go. Carnival is Tania. Not quite the right nationality, but Carnival's no stranger to Mexico. Tania was loud, unpredictable, and it never felt like enough time had passed between one awful tequila-soaked party and the next. Worse for me than most, I don't drink. I was a young man and she threw my life into absolute turmoil. She cooked for me now and then, and I wasn't at all shocked when I ended up with food poisoning. I knew from the start that it was a bad idea. Everyone warned me that it was a bad idea. And in the end, well, it was a bad idea. Fortunately, like most Carnival cruises, it was all over really quickly. Holland America is Jacqueline. Now, if you've sailed with both Cunard and Holland America, then you already know what I'm going to say. They're so similar in so many ways. Beautifully dressed, intelligent, they both carry that old school elegance, no fuss, no drama, just quietly doing everything the way that you want them to do it. They even look alike. But here it is. If you've ever really known Cunard, then you can never feel the same way about Holland America. No matter how hard you try. It's almost impossible to explain exactly what the difference is. But when the string quartet starts to play, instead of feeling like you're coming home, you feel cold and alone. Titanic is the woman that made me sign an NDA. I once had a very brief relationship with probably the world's most famous woman. Well, second if we're including the Queen. She is the Titanic. And let's not be rude and do the obvious joke, please, children. She was about 20 years older than me at the time. Well, she still is, I suppose. But Hollywood older, not Bradford older. Utterly iconic. A legend on both sides of the Atlantic. She's been in a lot of films and, it was a disaster. Anyway, that's all I can cope with sharing for now. I'm more the type that likes to make a lot of noise but doesn't really ever say anything, so I'm not super comfortable sharing my real life. These stories are all 100% true if you're wondering. The main thoughts that going through these memories has left me with is, why don't relationships have lifeboats? And do you know what? It is worth paying double for a solo cabin. Quick therapy session. Done.